The second week of the 2013 legislative session continued with big business attacks on working families roaring through the Capitol. The week started off with debate in the Senate on the statewide attempt to preempt paid sick leave. Determined to undermine local democracy and the will of the people, SB 726 by Senator Simmons attempts to undermine grassroots paid sick leave initiatives that are springing up across the state. In places like Orlando, where over 50,000 residents signed petitions in a county-wide sick leave initiative, it's evident that working people overwhelmingly support the right to visit a doctor when they're sick and take care of sick family members without the threat of losing their jobs.
When you strip away all of the politics, all of the what goes on, behind the scenes and everything, what it comes down to are employees and taking care of them, taking care of workers, taking care of families. That should be our goal.
Show Senate Bill 726 reported favorably.
There was more preemption on Wednesday when the Florida House debated HB 1125. Returning to the issue of wage theft, this bill would make it nearly impossible and a bureaucratic nightmare for workers to file wage theft claims.
I'd like to do just a little simple exercise, because as I sat and listened to everybody speak in regards to this issue, I thought about, if I do this, pull out my wallet, but ask you to do the same and let me hold it for 2 weeks. Trust me, I'll give it back. That's what we're asking of our workers of the state of Florida. They invest the time, they collect the reward, hard-earned work.
Just want to very briefly share something that happened not too long ago, about 3 weeks ago. A young man came into our offices. We're located right downtown. And young man, I'd say 19, 20 years old, came into our offices, and he's employed at a major franchise in downtown. I won't say which one. And he said that, a couple of days ago, the till came up short, and the owner, who's also the manager, couldn't figure out why the till came up short. None of us could. So she just went ahead and took it out of all of our checks. Is that legal? Well, I'm not an attorney, and I instructed him as such. I said, but I do know for a fact, sir, that that's not legal.
Throughout the week, members of the Working Family Lobby Corps had a strong presence at the Capitol. In solidarity, workers and activists from across the state, including Florida's teachers, police, and fire, were briefed on the week's events and took action every day by lobbying their legislators on key working family issues and testifying in committees. The strongest showing of dedicated activists flooded the State Affairs Committee on Thursday for a heated debate on the attempt by legislators to risk the retirement security of Florida's public workers. HB 7011 would dismantle the current defined benefit pension plan and throw all new public servants into a 401k, leaving their retirement and the economic security of their families at the whim of the stock market.
It would be much more fiscally responsible of this state to do away with the defined benefit plan today and put every one of you on the defined contribution plan. We could do that. We're not breaking a promise. We are simply saying to the new employees, the ones that have not even applied yet, that before you apply, know that this state offers you a defined contribution plan. Here's the terms of the 401k plan that you'll be entering as a new employee.
Over 60 first responders and Working Family Lobby Corps activists testified in opposition to HB 7011, with only the Florida Chamber of Commerce waving in support.
We don't do it for the flexible hours. I work on holidays, I work on weekends, I work at night. When there's a hurricane, you're with your family. When there's civil disturbance, you're with your family protected. We're out there protecting you. And all we ask is for you to do what we need, and that is protect our families when we go out there and we put out the ultimate sacrifice.
If you look over the history of why the pensions even exist, it existed because there was a problem with the American workers. You know what was happening, Mr. Chair? What was happening, because they didn't have a pension, they had to work till they're 70 and 80 years old. There was no way for them to retire. Nothing. And that is essentially what you're doing with this bill today. You're telling the workers who come to work for government that you're never going to retire from this system.
This bad idea ended up passing committee on a party line vote and continues its way to a vote in the House. In response, dozens of Florida's first responders held a press conference in opposition to the bill, giving a true face to the struggle this bill would put on our everyday heroes and their families.
There are police officers, deputy sheriffs, agents, troopers, whatever you want to call them. They all wear a badge, but they all do the same profession in keeping our public safe and our community safe.
We are also here in opposition to the pension reform that's being proposed here in the House. It leaves firefighters that are hired after January of next year with really no recourse in the event of a death or disability. To take that away from firefighters, that security, knowing that if you do have to make the ultimate sacrifice, that your family will suffer or may not have anything at the end, is a travesty, I think.
Stay tuned next week for another legislative update. Solidarity.